this one. This one's about to open up. They're gorgeous. Can you guys hear her? You were in the front row. Yeah. If you were up here, you could. Okay. Okay. Evergreen. Nice to meet you guys.
You need a hard drive.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, the wind is trying to expose me outside. Look at how pretty this is.
Like, I finally found a studio apartment I can like afford and live by myself.
It's the girl and her yellow watermelon juice. What do you call perfection? This right here. Fresh off the farm. Flowers still attached. You know what's going on. Yeah. Let me see if I can do the fucking... Oh, I'm about to fuck it up. Gotta get my handles right. Hold up. I might do the cucumber spread. Cucumbers. Grown by a real nigga. What the fuck? Oh nah. Did I just do that? Dang, I'm sorry, Cuke. That was real mean of me.
She's actually playing basketball. She's playing basketball with TV right now.
Oh, really?
She's still playing basketball because she was there for the summer.
I'll see her around every now and again.
It's you. Look at her. This thing was dead like a month or two ago. Now she's gorgeous. Look at her. That is not a smooth transition.
Yeah, this guy right here. No, this thing's wrong, man.
I used to play like the baton. Yeah. That used to be my shit. Hi. That's it. Good boy. All over me. Okay, so one thing that I have been noticing, that is a very large wasp. I'm noticing that there are a lot of people in my realm who love the idea of me, love what I look like. They love my aesthetic, you know, but they don't actually like me, right? For the person that I am, for who I actually am, not who they think that I am and who they want me to be and who they have created me to be in their minds. And I've realized that, you know, these are not people to call friends. These are simply people who are admirers, right? And
I've noticed that these people who admire me also put me on a pedestal. And what comes with that pedestal is them being incapable of being able to look at me as the human that I am, because we are all humans right now. And I think that gets in the way of any type of connection that could possibly be, whether it's a friendship, a relationship, a business partnership, or anything like that. I think when you put people on pedestals, you really stop looking at them as a human. People are not perfect. And I have a lot of people who call me perfect, and I'm always correcting them and telling them that that is not who I am. I am not perfect. I'm far from it, you know. I don't think anybody's perfect. I don't think perfection exists, maybe in nature, but not, we are far from it. And I think us not being perfect makes us perfect in and of ourselves individually, right? It doesn't leave room for people to be human. And I've noticed that when I am my human self around people who put me on these pedestals and, you know, just look at me as this perfect being, I get a specific type of reaction that throws me off, honestly. Like, y'all think that I might be throwing y'all off for being human, but y'all throw me off when I realize that, damn, I can't be human around this person. You can't really place blame on just one party. I think, you know, everybody plays their part because life is a dance and it takes two to tango. And sometimes we might step on each other's toes or fuck up the dance moves, and that's all right, you know. Nothing is perfect. But Ashley, don't judge me. I wash my hands. A lot of y'all don't wash y'all hands. But I think that I'm always just receiving that message that it's just time to up your discernment on people. Don't ever think that you know someone, and I never think that I know someone, and I hate when motherfuckers think that they know me, because a lot of people do that to me as well. But yeah, I think just upping your discernment, because the mask that people wear is starting to merge with their faces, and it's starting to becoming a little bit more challenging to decipher who people really are. But it's not impossible. But what I always do say is that time does that thing that it always do, which is reveals every single thing, and you can only keep up a facade for so long. And I don't think that is necessarily about getting rid of these people in my realm, but more so placing them where they rightfully need to be. And most times it looks like placing them outside of my circle, even though they want to be in my close circle, and having them understand that because you feel some type of way about me, or because you're interested in me and my world, doesn't mean that the feeling is mutual. And it doesn't mean that this is something that is good for the both of us. So really just doing what is best for both parties in mind. And so I've been really just placing people where they belong in my life, and not looking at them as a bad person or this type of person or that type of person, but just looking at people as energy, because that's really all that we are. We are just energy that is in the physical now. So I really just be looking at like the energetics of people now, and to me it's really not even on some good or bad type of shit. It's just on some, it just is, this is who people are, this is what they about, this is what they on. And you can either fuck with it or not fuck with it, but essentially bringing it back to placing people where they belong in your life. It is okay, 110% okay, to realize and to know that you are too good for certain shit. I think a lot of people think disagreements mean that you're against somebody, but I think it's okay to disagree. I think that we are all different. We all came here different for a reason. If God wanted us all to be the same person, we'd be one person. No, we are all different people, and we all have different minds and beliefs and all that good stuff. And so I think that we should all embrace it, and we should all be able to, you know, give grace to one another, like we want grace. But I also love to, when I say grace and space, I mean just removing my energy from a specific situation. It could be cutting off, or it could just be me taking a large step back, you know, just to let the dust settle with a lot of things, and to let the energy speak for itself, and to let time do what it does all the time. Like I said, like time really does heal a lot of things. And so I'm just a big fan of that. Like, I'm a big fan of not putting in too much energy into something, especially if you put energy into it and your efforts have gone to waste, or you're putting energy into something that you see that the other party is clearly not interested in a solution. So it's like, at that point, you're wasting your time. And you just have to know, like I said, coming back to what I was saying before, like, you just gotta know that you too good for a lot of shit, and you gotta get up and get the fuck and go where the shit is worth it. And speaking of worth, because I've been lately telling a lot of people, and I know they probably feel some type of way about this, but I've been lately telling a lot of people like they are undeserving of my energy. And I know this word deserve kind of rubs people the wrong way, but I'm not saying that you don't deserve the specific type of energy that you want. I'm just saying that you don't deserve it from me. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody deserves what it is that they desire, with some exceptions. But I think everyone deserves what it is that they desire, but do you deserve it from the person that you want it from? You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what I've been really big on, is like, oh, this person might deserve this, this, and this, but do they deserve that from me? You know, I'm somebody who, I am like a recovering people pleaser, and just in this phase of like not overextending myself, not doing things just because, not doing things just to keep the peace, because I've realized that when I'm doing things to keep the peace, I'm doing all of those things at the expense of my peace. So then now I'm not at peace, but everybody's at peace, and so it's like, that doesn't really work for me. I think I've been the most unreasonable person that I've been in the last 2 years, because a lot of people, and it, like I said, life is a dance, so I've realized that I have conditioned people to always see me as this person who doesn't have pride and always takes the higher road and always gives the benefit of the doubt and all that good stuff. But it's like, it comes to a point where it's like, people love to show their ass when they know that you are always being the bigger person. You know, so it's like, sometimes I love to give people a taste of their own medicine, but I'm just not there anymore. I'm just not in my people-pleasing phase anymore. I think I've completely come out of it. There are some residual things a little bit, but for the most part, yeah, I'm not there no more. So y'all are getting a different version of me, and for those people who are like just meeting me, y'all don't know the past me. Y'all don't know the past people-pleasing version of me. But for the people who have known me for a while, I know that, you know, there is some, it might be some head butting or some resistance, because I am changing for the better. And I noticed that, you know, being a people pleaser, when you change your people pleasing ways, you're no longer putting people ahead of you. So it does, and it will take some getting used to the people who are used to me always putting them before me, you know. And I think that you should be happy for me. I think that if you really fuck with me, you would be happy that I'm finally enforcing better boundaries for myself and others. So a friend of mine the other day had asked me, like, what do you think is stronger, love or hate? And you know, like, that's like a duh type of question, but we really got into it. Like, we got deep into this, like really fucking deep into this conversation. But yeah, it really made me think, like, in this world, in this realm, you're either a lover or you're a fucking hater, and there is no in between, and you gotta pick a side, you know. And just know that love always wins. You know, hate might win the fight, but it will never win the war. And hate doesn't have longevity. Hate spreads a lot quicker, but it has no longevity. Love will always win. Shout out to Lex, first of all, for that post, because that's something that has been on my mind a lot. And I like to always say that love that is rooted in perfection is very conditional love, which essentially is not love. And I think, like, I invite everybody to really define love for themselves, because I think that we all have this like universal idea of what love is, or we might have somebody else's definition of what love is, but what does love really mean to you? And something that Bell Hooks really, like, her book, All About Love, there was a quote in there that said, love is as love does. And I think that really speaks, because love is an action, you know. And if love is as love does, then you got to ask yourself, like, when you say something is love, are your actions showing that? You know what I'm saying? For example, If you're continuously disrespecting your partner, love is as love does. So in that instance, love is disrespect. Is that love? It is not. You know, so I think that we really gotta like define love for ourselves and then ask ourselves, are our actions matching the definition of what we believe love is? Back to her post, she was just talking about how like love rooted in perfection, like I was saying, is not really love. And I've been noticing that a lot lately as well, like, and I've been having to make sure I check myself and make sure that I'm not being one of those people who is expecting perfection in love, you know, because it doesn't leave room for people to be human. Going back to what the fuck I was saying earlier, it doesn't leave room for that. Like, I think that nothing will be perfect, and I think that love will be hard. And let's just say we're talking about in terms of romance, because love is so expansive, and I don't like to only dumb it down to just romance. But if we're talking about romance, love being something that will never be perfect, right? Far from perfect, but do you wake up every day and feel like, I still want to try with this person? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where I am at in my journey, where it's like, if I could be honest, anybody that I've ever dealt with romantically, I didn't really see them as somebody who was worth putting effort into. And I gotta be 110% honest. Like, I wasn't waking up and saying, hey, this is hard, but I really see the value in this and I want to continue trying. That is something that a lot of people don't want to hear, essentially. But I think I'd much rather be honest with people than wake up every day and just be living a lie, which I've done in the past. And the thing about myself, like my true self, is my true self never lets me do some shit that they know that I ain't with for real for too long. So it's not gonna last. So I'd much rather just be authentic in my spirit and what I do. The lover or a hater is baseline, and then if you are a lover, what does your love look like? Is your love conditional? You know what I'm saying? Are you looking for perfection, or are you going to allow people to be human and love them anyway? Because that's essentially what we're all here for. Like, ain't shit gonna be perfect. Shit is gonna hit the fan a lot of times, but and things are not gonna look the way you want them to look. I think that's another thing, that we have to like take our emotion away from the things that we are dealing with and take away like the fact that we want it to be a specific type of way and just see things for what it is. You know, right now I think it's being emphasized that I just learn deeper or dive deeper into acceptance, and especially with people, whether I like it or not, whether it is distasteful or not. Yeah, just being very accepting and just extending good energy to people regardless of the circumstances. I know that sounds so fucking hard, and I'm going to be the first person to tell you that I don't always show up in a way where it's seeming like it's that easy, but in hindsight I always come back to that because there's a bigger picture. And I think that, you know, that is my favorite thing about nature. Nature is my biggest inspiration, is that nature is all about the bigger picture. No matter what the fuck is going on, there is a mission. You know what I'm saying? There is a mission, and there's a bigger picture, and we can't let our emotions or whatever the fuck else get in the way of that bigger picture. So how can we just be, you know, living in harmony with one another and just being kinder to each other? That's really all that I wanted to yap about. I'm about to go eat some good food. It is September. It's also sober September. So right now we on the no smoking, no drinking, no sex, no excessive spending. Working out for 45 minutes a day, and then reading at least 10 pages of a book a day. So if y'all want to join me for Sober September, please do. But I was having a conversation with Divine yesterday actually, and we were talking about how, like, you know, we'd like to have more friends who we could connect with outside of our vices. There's more to life than your vices, you know what I'm saying? I invite anybody who feels called to join being sober, or if you don't want to be completely sober, start small. You don't have to be extreme like me, but maybe just cutting back a lot on your vices and replacing that with something else. So for me, when I first started doing Sober September, instead of smoking, I would just go meditate. You know, I will replace the act of smoking with something else healthy. I invite you all to challenge yourselves. We're here for the challenge. This is school. Earth is school. Challenge yourselves. Believe in yourselves, you know. I think that we all are capable of doing a lot of things, but you have to prioritize it. If you're telling yourself that you can't do something, then obviously you're not going to be able to do it. So start telling yourself that you can. And yeah, I'm gonna check back in with y'all in next month maybe. Yeah. Get your vitamin D. It's free.
Like I need like that sort of thing.
I think it's like you're like craving an autonomy. That's a part of it.
Good point. Okay, what am I gonna
For that. Thank you. Does anyone want to share what they're giving themselves flowers for?
I'll share.
So the first one says stepping out of my comfort zone, because I've been doing that a lot this year. The second one says finally developing and enforcing healthy boundaries, because I think it's one thing to develop some boundaries, it's another thing to actually enforce them. And I didn't write this one down, but this one will be taking the next step. So for those of you who don't know, I am a farmer, and I just got accepted into a program earlier. I accepted into a program in April, and hopefully, God willing, by the end of it, I will have acquired some land. So I'm giving myself flowers for